Welcome again to another episode in our series of One Big Question, where we look at topical points of interest in the cybersecurity landscape and discuss these with thought leaders in the field. Today we're revisiting our questions around the hybrid workforce and how to secure that, and looking specifically at the question of how to leverage the hype of zero trust to actually bridge your digital transformation.
Yeah, hello again, everyone. So I'd like to first introduce our very special guest, Paula Januszkiewicz from CQURE. Paula, would you like to just give us a quick intro of yourself?
Absolutely, Joe. Thank you so much for the invitation as well. And I'm Paula Januszkiewicz. I'm the CEO of CQURE, and technically this is the company that I have established 12 years ago. So I'm dealing with cybersecurity for quite a while. We are placed in 4 locations, so New York, Dubai, Switzerland, and Poland. And if it's about my background for cybersecurity, I've been performing penetration tests and incident response and forensics for the past 15 years. So that's truly my life and passion and so on. And also I got access to the source code of Windows. That's something legally given by Microsoft that sometimes I'm looking at in order to help myself to understand more of the security problems. And I'm also a Microsoft Regional Director. That is an honorable role for someone who is outside of Microsoft for in some sense being able to convert a technology into something useful for the organizations.
What a resume. So it's very happy to have you here. So let's start with our first question. So we know that zero trust is more of a philosophy and not a product. You can't just go and buy a zero trust product, right? So, what advice would you offer to those who are looking to implement a zero trust approach quickly, and where should they be focusing their attention, to get this, what the first implementation they could do?
Absolutely. So first of all, we need to understand what zero trust is, and that is actually a security concept that is allowing the organizations to, first of all, do not trust anything, whether it's inside or outside and so on. And at the end, we need to verify anything and everything trying to connect to our infrastructure in order to get an access somewhere. So whether it's going to be user authenticating to a certain web application, or it's going to be user doing something within the operating system, or it's going to be, for example, contractor trying to connect with the external account to some resources in order to administer them. So some of the things can be done quickly, for example, multi-factor authentication in order to help out to avoid the passwords, for example, leaking and being used to log into our corporate resources. But that's not everything. We need to verify what kind of identities and where we are using in order to control them. We need to play with authentication systems, for example, figure out how to avoid passwords and get into the passwordless authentication. We need to think about how we are able to segment our corporate network, who has access to. And at the end, we have to play with our devices and implement various solutions that would, for example, prevent, simply speaking, phishing attacks. So if user clicks on a link, we have to sleep well and know that the technology behind is actually not letting the hackers to go more inside of our infrastructure.
Yeah, really, really good insights there, Paula, and certainly appreciate your expertise there. Throwing open to Kurt Roemer, who's our security strategist with Citrix as well. Kurt, I'd love to get your take on things here. If we're talking about rolling out zero trust, what would you be prioritizing? Some of those things in order to get the benefits that we're wanting and actually articulating that to the C-suite, but also focusing on the employees and their experience as well.
Yeah, thanks, Tony. Echoing a lot of what Paula had talked about and applying that to some business problems, go to the C-suite, take a look at what they're focused on, and make sure that zero trust is supporting that. So find out areas where there are trust relationships that are not appropriate in today's technology and business environment and refactor those, using zero trust really as a bridge to digital transformation for the organization. And then the second part of your question was around user experience. And you're absolutely right. Everything that we do from this point forward really needs to focus on enhancing user experience. And in my mind, user experience really needs to drive security. because in that way, we're going to have the right behaviors driving the right security outcomes.
Yeah, and those behaviors are just so important. We've got to be focusing on the people as well, for sure. So really great insights there. We are going to be exploring these questions in more detail and many other questions as well in our upcoming webinar that's going to take place on July 22. So do join us then. We'll see you there. Thank you very much.